Hey everybody, I'm Mike. This is Budget Guns and Gear Reviews, and you are watching The Right of the People, where we use the first to defend the second. So uncover your keyboards and fire up your fingers. It's time to join the conversation.
Hello, boys! I'm back!
And that's right, we are back. And if you notice, folks, channel name is not MK Outdoor Journal anymore. It has returned to Budget Guns and Gear Reviews officially. Glad to have this stuff back in the house. Come on, let me... There we go. The Chatteroo is out there. Going strong now. We got it on the little widget here so we can see it, so that I don't have to have multiple windows open. I can just look at my nice little widget right there. And there it is. We got Warsaw in the house. We got that bearded guy. And of course, Pickle climbing out the jar. Speaking of which, hi Pickle, how you doing?
Doing all right on this, long Thanksgiving weekend. I appreciate the invite as always, and let's see if we can't make the algorithm mad with actually speaking the truth tonight.
That's right. I want Al Gore's rhythms to be upset and just terribly angry with me, because I don't care. Let's see. We go to my Gmail account. This ain't popping up, is it? My Gmail account? No. Good. You guys can't see that. Send out one more linkaroo. One more linkaroo sent. So, yeah, we got some stuff to talk about as usual tonight. This kind of thing is really the gift that just keeps on giving. The gun controllers and anti-gun scumbags, because yes, to me that's what they are. Anyone that wants me defenseless and disarmed is absolutely not my friend, and hence a scumbag. They just don't give up. Well, sometimes, they got to be slapped down and put in their place. Hey, Jacob, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for being out there, man. As you can see, my camera seems to be working now, which is good. That's a pretty awesome thing. So hopefully that continues and we have no technical difficulties tonight. Yeah. Last week, I wasn't feeling so hot. And, yeah. Monday, I ended up spending the evening in the ER. So, yeah, it's between my camera difficulties I didn't feel like messing with and what was going on with me physically. That's why there wasn't any show Sunday night. Thought I was having a heart attack. Had the chest pains and, the sweats and, the shortness of breath and tightness and going all down my arm and all that garbage. But it was not a heart attack. The EKG was absolutely fine. There are no cardiac enzymes. My heart sounds strong and wonderful, according to the ER doc. No, it wasn't that. It was my sugar being up around 400. It was 396. And my blood pressure being at like 220 something over, oh my effing God. It's supposed to be like 120 over 80, for those that don't know. And your blood sugar is supposed to be around 70. So, yeah, somebody hadn't been taking his meds, which I am now. So, yeah, screw all that. I want to live a long and happy, healthy life and annoy the forces of tyranny as long as I can. Mummy dust doesn't like to flow through veins. Oh, yeah. Nice. Thank you. Speaking of thank you, hey, Warsaw, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for coming.
Thanks for the invite. Getting over a cold, man. It's just snow hit my area, and I'm just fucking cold, man.
Uh-oh. Well, that's not good.
Hey, it just comes with the weather, man. Just got to get used to it.
Yep. If you live in the north, then you have to get used to all this good, wonderful stuff. Temperature's actually really supposed to drop tonight here, too. Oh, pardon me. I'm so sleepy. I've been sleeping in, getting to bed early this weekend and getting up late. It's a holiday weekend. What do you expect, right?
Yeah, Black Friday deals, go for it. Hey, but the inflation is killing us, dude, especially the prices going up everywhere. You can't even get anything you need.
I know the meme's been going around, but I agree. I wish they would do some Black Friday sale on groceries, man. That's how that's been lately. Hey, Pickle, you can take that 61 and put it right in your jar there, buddy. Just right there.
Oh yeah, that's for as I say, the rest of the world would look at those numbers and think, hey, that's that's mid-spring. Unfortunately, people around here are so how should I say,
Spoiled?
soft that they freak out over those numbers.
Jacob says he just got back from vacation. It was 82. Where'd you go on vacation, Jacob? Says 39 back home.
Yeah, another thing, as far as this inflation's concerned, we gotta get Brandon out of office. And I don't know about you guys, I'm voting for Trump. I don't want Newsom taking over power as presidency. If that guy gets the power, we're done.
Oh, what'd you call him? Pickle? What'd you call him, Pickle? What'd you call Newsom?
The greasy used car salesman.
Greasy used car salesman, yes. Or Gavin Numbnuts. Or Gavin Gruesome. That's what I kind of call him. That bearded guy says, I'm still wearing shorts.
No, but it's just disturbing that people that are on the Democratic side are voting this guy, and I'm like, this guy did damage in California. No offense, Pickle.
Is he running for president? Is he?
He is claiming that he's not, because Biden has already said he's going for another term, but with the international trips and the photo ops with international leaders and the trips to DC and the debating other governors and whatnot, he's building up. As soon as there isn't a Democratic incumbent, he's running.
Jacob said he was in Hawaii. Oh, awesome. Defense dad out there sees gun people? Yes, you do. Bearded guy says new scum. Yes, I agree. Yeah, well, that'd be interesting if he runs. I think there's not a chance in hell he'll legitimately win, but then again, I didn't think there was a chance in hell Biden was going to win either. And he did. That whole we got to stop counting at 3 a.m. thing. We'll let you know who won in the morning.
You know what? I hate to ask, but who all agrees that there should be a cognitive test to be a requirement for being president, especially that we have Brandon in office?
With this guy, jeez. Well, that's why all this chaos and confusion and terror is happening in the world, because the United States looks weak, because we are weak.
Well, because we've got a weak president.
I would agree, Warsaw, that the idea sounds good, but I would be hesitant to approve something like that, only because without knowing who's going to write the test and who's administering the test, and it being able to be weaponized, that's where we don't want. I don't care which party it is, where someone is administering the test and the it's a C Jane run, for one person, and for the other person it is a PhD thesis on string theory. So,
right. At the same time, it's not Brandon that's operating the country; it's this goddamn party.
Well, yeah, it's his handlers. He's nothing but a puppet. That's all he's been since day one.
And it's sad, especially when he walks off the stage and leave a Medal of Honor recipient off alone. And I'm like, this is what you want to represent America? This is what you want to represent?
Yeah. like I said, I think that I think a purple ass baboon could win against Joe Biden. If the election were held fairly, hopefully that'll happen and the Democrats will get slapped back into their place. And, well, speaking of being slapped back into their place, is this piece from bearingarms.com. The Fourth Circuit declares Maryland's handgun qualification license unconstitutional, by Cam Edwards from November 21st. A decade ago, Maryland lawmakers imposed a new burden on residents hoping to exercise their Second Amendment right to keep and bear a handgun by creating a handgun qualification license. Before any would-be gun owner can take possession of a pistol, they must first jump through several state-mandated hoops, from submitting fingerprints as part of a background check investigation to taking a 4-hour-long firearm safety training course, quote-unquote, that includes the firing of at least one live round of ammunition. After waiting 30 days or more for approval, the would-be gun owner has to go through another background check and an arbitrary 7-day waiting period before they can take possession of their pistol, though they must run another background bureaucratic gauntlet before they're actually allowed to carry the sidearm in self-defense. On Monday, a 3-judge panel of the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals concluded what Second Amendment activists have been arguing for years. The handgun qualification license is an unconstitutional barrier to exercising a fundamental right. In a 2-1 decision, the majority declared that the plaintiff's challenge must succeed, reversing a district court opinion and delivering an important victory to the Firearms Policy Coalition, Maryland Shall Issue, the Independence Institute, Atlantic Guns, and several individual residents who'd sued over the permit requirement. The challenge law restricts the ability of law-abiding adult citizens to possess handguns, and the state has not presented a historical analog that justifies its restriction. Indeed, it has seemingly admitted that it couldn't find one. Under the Supreme Court's new burden-shifting test for these claims, Maryland's law thus fails, and we must enjoin its enforcement. So we reverse the district court's contrary decision. Applying the Supreme Court's history text and tradition test to the Maryland statute, the Fourth Circuit panel determined that there are no historical analogs to the modern-day gun control law. Importantly, the panel ruled that while the HQL doesn't directly deal with either keeping or bearing arms, but rather their acquisition, the gun control law still directly implicates and imposes on the Second Amendment rights of residents. The answer is not complicated. If you do not already own a handgun, then the only way to keep or bear one is to get one, either through sale, rental, or gift. And the challenge law cuts off all 3 avenues, at least for those who do not comply with its terms. Well, and who follow the law, because, as we all know, criminals, by very definition of the word, don't. That brings us to the next wrinkle. The challenge law does not permanently prohibit plaintiffs from acquiring or carrying handguns. Instead, it imposes certain requirements that they must meet before they can obtain a handgun, and those requirements rely on objective criteria, quote-unquote, which plaintiffs admit that they can satisfy. Once they do so, the law commands that the state shall issue them a handgun qualification license. But even though Maryland's law does not prohibit plaintiffs from owning handguns at some time in the future, it still prohibits them from owning handguns now. In order to get a handgun, plaintiffs still have to follow all the law's steps. And, although they will be able to complete each one, it is impossible to do so right away. Plaintiffs can't receive a license to legally acquire a handgun until the state reviews their applications, which can take up to 30 days. So no matter what plaintiffs do, there will be a period of up to 30 days where their ability to get a handgun is completely out of their control. In other words, though it does not permanently bar plaintiffs from owning handguns, the challenge law deprives them of that ability until their application is approved, no matter what they do. As the panel reasoned, there's nothing in the language of or text of the Second Amendment that the Bruin decision that suggests the amendment protects only against laws that permanently deprive people of the ability to keep and bear arms. A right delayed is a right denied, and the temporary deprivation of that plaintiffs allege is facially plausible Second Amendment violation. Then, of course, Maryland tried to engage in some mental gymnastics to say that, this law was similar to federal laws that prohibit specific categories of people like felons or drug users or whatnot, those adjudicated as mentally ill, from getting handguns, so that it should be okay based on that. And they also tried to argue that the law is justified by a tradition of laws requiring training for members of the militia. Both arguments, the Maryland court said, no. I mean, the district court said, no, we're not doing this. So they struck this down and determined that it is a no-go for this law to be in effect. So they've struck it down, a 3-judge panel of the Fourth Circuit. Now, of course, we have to find out if the Maryland Attorney General will go for an en banc review, which probably will happen, and what the Fourth Circuit will do with that. But I think it's actually pretty interesting, and will be pretty interesting to see what happens, because I suspect that if this ruling by the Fourth Circuit's 3-judge panel is held up under an en banc review, that'll have far-reaching implications for places like, say, Illinois, where you have to get a FOID card. You have to get basically a license to acquire a handgun. And I think having a license to acquire a gun is just a complete unconstitutional infringement. And it's just the first time I ever heard. Yeah, I'm in Ohio. We've never had to have a license to acquire a handgun. We can just go out and buy whatever you want. You ain't got to worry about none of that garbage. But yeah, some places, I was shocked when I got older and found out that some places you have to. So what do you guys think? A, do you think that the ruling as it is, if it stands in an en banc review, do you think that it will spell doom for nationwide licensing schemes to permits to acquire firearms? What do you guys think? Both out in the chat and here on the panel, just go ahead and sound off. If you're listening to the replay of this, let me know in the comments below.
Not necessarily directly spell the doom to something like the FOID card, being that that district doesn't that court doesn't apply directly to Illinois, and that's where the courts that oversee Illinois, have they ruled as to whether or not the FOID card is legal? Do you know?
Offhand, no, but I can look it up.
Okay.
From what I've gathered in 2 years, they've actually ruled it's unconstitutional in the past, and those were in 2 court cases that were actually refused to be heard, and now they're being heard again with the Moron decision. And from what I've gathered with my friends in Illinois, they got strong ground now with the Bruin decision, and it could actually potentially destroy the arguments against the reason why the FOID Act has been on the books since 1986 in Illinois.
Right. That's where I agree that on Bruin, it gives a strong argument as to why those need to go away. The reason I was asking about the other court is if multiple district courts are all ruling and they agree with each other, and the other ones haven't taken it up, then it doesn't put the extra pressure on SCOTUS to emphasize them to take it up. That's where it seems the most likely way to get SCOTUS to take it and make a national ruling is to have multiple districts that disagree with each other. If they're all basically in agreement, then SCOTUS just kind of lets them do their thing. So that's why I was curious.
I mean, another option is if the state Supreme Court also takes up the case too. I mean, theoretically.
It's already gone beyond the state Supreme, hasn't it? That's where, in that story, if I recall, their budget saying it already went federal.
This for Maryland, or are you talking about Illinois?
Oh yeah,
For
yeah.
for Maryland, it's already gone federal.
Because
So
because Illinois hasn't gone to state Supreme Court for their void card. It's only gone to the appeals court, I believe.
if it's still at the state level and hasn't gone federal, then yeah, that's for if they can take it federal and they rule contrary to Maryland, then it would help us get SCOTUS's attention. At which point, if they hold to their Bruin, policy, I think it would spell the doom to these licensing requirements, which could in turn possibly be used as a stepping stone for getting rid of carry permits, and
No.
making constitutional carry,
No.
because
Mm-hmm.
saying having to have a license to get the gun isn't legal. It wouldn't be much of a stretch for some lawyer to argue that requiring a license to carry a gun is the next logical step.
Yep. Incrementalism. The same way
No.
we've been losing our rights is exactly the way we're going to get them back. We got New York Outcast out there. No, sir, I have not won the lottery and decided I'm too good for everybody. Scott79's here. How you doing? M. Gabriel, how are you, sir? Defense Dad is out there. Good to see you. Outcast says, I wouldn't admit it either. Yeah, right? Trust
Nebraska?
me, if I won the lottery, there would be signs. These walls back here would be completely filled with things that go pew 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 very rapidly. So yeah, I there would be signs, and there ain't no signs. Well, except that one and that one.
No, the question I got is how many other states have permanent requirements just for ownership of a firearm?
I don't know. Apparently, Nebraska does for handguns or AR and AK purchases.
So let's see.
How you doing, brother? You got a link, man.
All right,
I
so
sent
let's
you
see.
one, so hop in if you want. This
We got
started at 11, sir.
We got California, we got Illinois, we got Maryland, we got Nebraska. Does Mass have one?
I don't know.
Let's see.
That's for California. I wouldn't say we have a license requirement, not in the sense like what Maryland was saying.
It's a certificate. Last time I checked with my buddies in California.
Right, that's where it is a 15 question multiple choice quiz that you have to take, and you have to show. They have to hand you the firearm. You have to be able to show them the certain operations such as clearing, and rendering safe, this kind of thing. But it's not like the Maryland one requiring, a range test and requiring a background check and requiring a class and all these other on top of it takes you, if you know your firearm safety, basically it takes you 5 minutes to fill out. So it's not quite the same as some of these other places.
It's still
I'm not saying that
It is.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just differentiating.
Let's take this whole permit and license thing and apply it to another constitutionally protected right, the right to vote. What if you had to take a 15-question quiz and show proof that you had passed a U.S. government or civics class in order to be able to vote? Boy, people's heads would be exploding. I don't know if you guys have ever watched The Boys, but that's what it would look like. Is their heads would be just blowing up and blood everywhere, running in the streets from the conniption fits they'd be throwing if someone decided to try to push that you have to have a 15 question multiple choice quiz and show that you've passed a civics class in order to exercise your right to vote. Oh. The wailing and gnashing of teeth.
And I'm not saying, but that's your budget. I'm not saying you're not correct there. I was just trying to paint an accurate picture of, on a scale of 1, a scale of 0 being no restrictions, 10 being a FOID card, that California is not quite up there at the FOID card yet. So I was just trying to paint a scale.
But that wasn't directed at you. It was just directed at the hypocrisy of these people.
Yep. I just looked
I
it up
agree.
right now. I just looked up the total amount of states. So currently, the states that require some form of license permits for firearms and ownerships are California, Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Iowa, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Nebraska, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina, Washington, and Washington D.C.
That's disgusting.
And since we're talking about this, you know what these permit options are going to be forming as if we keep letting it happen? It's going to be like Canada. Up there, they have privilege. It's not a right up there in the country. You got to have a permit, otherwise they're a felon.
Well, thankfully, the general trend here in the U.S. is toward relaxing gun laws at this point.
I mean,
We
I
are
don't know about you.
slowly but surely and incrementally winning this fight.
Yes, but we also, in order to keep that going, we need to be diligent about our Congress, because that's where I know
Yeah.
people say, well, it's president, appoints it. Well, yes, but Congress, Senate has to approve.
Yep.
So we need to make sure that they can't just triple the number of seats and stack the courts.
No, you're right. We have to be vigilant to guard against this garbage. But we are still winning. There, case in point, is another victory we had, this time in the Fifth Circuit. This is from the Second Amendment Foundation. By the way, saf.org, saf.org. Go join. $15 a year. These guys are getting your rights back one lawsuit at a time, and this is one of them. This is Fifth Circuit panel grants motion on illegal ATF final rule remand from November 21st, Bellevue, Washington. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals has issued an order granting a motion by plaintiffs in the battle over the reclassification of frames and receivers to issue the court's mandate immediately, allowing the case to return to the district court for a new remedy. The Fifth Circuit panel ruled that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives final rule is illegal. Circuit Judge Kurt D. Engelhardt wrote, "An agency cannot label conduct lawful one day and felonious the next. Yet that is exactly what the ATF accomplishes through its final rule. Accordingly, the judgment of the district court is affirmed to the extent it holds unlawful the two challenged portions of the final rule and vacated and remanded as to the remedy. The case is known as Vanderstock v. Garland." In other words, they've sent it back to the district court to tell them, no, you got to do something else with this. As we noted when the ruling came down, the ATF clearly exceeded its authority by arbitrarily changing the rules, said Alan M. Gottlieb, founder and executive vice president of the Second Amendment Foundation, which intervened as a plaintiff in the case. By granting our motion to issue the mandate immediately, the Fifth Circuit ruling allows us to return to the district court for a new remedy ruling right away, as opposed to weeks or months from now. The Fifth Circuit's ruling sends a message to the agency and the Biden administration that its animosity toward gun owners and the Second Amendment does not empower the executive branch to change the law on a whim. SAF Executive Director Adam Kraut said Circuit Judge Kurt D. Engelhardt's ruling chastising the ATF for attempting to do the job of Congress sent a message to the agency to stay in its own lane. As noted by Judge Engelhardt in the ruling, only Congress may make the deliberate and reasoned decision to enact new or modified legislation regarding firearms based on the important policy concerns put forth by ATF and the various amici here. But unless and until Congress so acts to expand or alter the language of the Gun Control Act, ATF must operate within the statutory text's existing limits. In other words, folks, the Fifth Circuit said, ATF, you can't do that. You lack the authority to change the law. That is the job of Congress, not you. Why is this important? I mean, hell, a lot of people don't build firearms, don't use 80% frames or receivers, and, they just go to the store and buy them. Well, this is important in a lot of things. This is important against bump stocks. This is important against the pistol brace. This is important against any time the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives wants to just unilaterally change a rule that has the force of law. So remember, folks, you got a pistol brace right now, unless you're covered by one of the injunctions, you're a felon if you didn't register it as a short-barreled rifle. And you can go to prison. Because the ATF is out of freaking control. But the court says, nope, you can't do it. You guys think I'm out of my gourd here with the implications of this? If this is allowed to stand, I'm sure the ATF's eventually going to take all this stuff to SCOTUS, and there's going to have to be a final determination from the Supreme Court on whether the ATF has these powers. But again, this Fifth Circuit decision, it's other circuit courts have decided that the ATF does have the power to regulate these things. In other lawsuits, Fifth Circuit says no, it don't. There's a split in the courts, and we all know that the Supremes like to take cases where there's a split, like the bump stock case that they're going to hear. What do you think, folks?
Yeah, having the split definitely is to our benefit. That's for with the current makeup of the courts. But that's for smacking them down, saying they can't executive order or executive branch making law is certainly a good thing. And let the executive branch help push forward this cause all the way up to SCOTUS. It'll be beneficial because I believe at least as our current SCOTUS sits, it will rule based on text and tradition.
Yeah, I think so. I absolutely think it will.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very optimistic on the bump stock case. I'm very optimistic on the stuff with the pistol braces and whatnot. That seems to be going well. I think in the courts we are having a lot of success.
You know how we're doing it?
One lawsuit at a time. Join the Second Amendment Foundation, folks.
Yep, we're shit-facing them with lawsuits up the ass.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where it'd be nice to see, one step at a time. Eventually, getting rid of the NFA.
We'll get there.
That's what I'm saying. One step at a time, and that's the 100 miles down the road goal. But that's where, we march forward 1 mile at a time.
We'll get there. It may not be in our lifetimes, unfortunately, but we'll get there.
Right. Just one of those. With states such as myself, I think, I want to say Hawaii is one of those as well, where basically anything that's on the NFA, they have a unilateral, no. So that's where, although I don't necessarily have an interest in a bump stock or a pistol brace per se, I could definitely see applications for an SBR or an SBS, but I can't have them. So, if we could, one step at a time, start working our way in that direction, that'd be fantastic.
Well, one thing I can say that's a useful thing for a brace or having a pistol of that sort, a larger pistol, like an AR pistol or an AK pistol or whatnot, is to take in your vehicle, because, you can't have a loaded magazine for a rifle in your vehicle. At least here where I'm at, you can't. But you can have a loaded magazine for a pistol in your vehicle. So I can have an AR pistol with as many magazines as I want loaded in my vehicle. It's not a problem. You can't do that with a rifle unless you have the ammunition separated from the gun, and with one of them in a compartment that you have to exit the vehicle to get to, and all that other good garbage. But with a pistol, totally different. So having the ability to classify it as a pistol, yet still have that brace on it so that you can better shoot it more accurately and safely, I think is a great thing. But ultimately the goal is to just not even have any of those picayune, ridiculous laws to worry about, and do whatever the hell you want as long as you're not hurting anybody. That's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost, what's up? Glad to see ya. Pardon me. But even though in the courts we are winning victories one little bit at a time, the ATF is not going to lay down and just take this. Oh no, unfortunately, they expect you to lay down and take it. And in this case, it's over solvent traps. This is from Ammoland from November 22nd by John Crump. ATF claims solvent traps were always unregistered silencers. For years, people have been purchasing solvent traps and following Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive procedures to legally convert the devices into suppressors by filling out an ATF Form 1, paying for a $200 tax stamp, and going through all the checks and balances. The ATF has recently started rejecting all applications to make a suppressor. In a letter written to federal firearms licensees on November 20th, the Bureau claims that solvent traps never existed under federal law, and most have always been unregistered silencers. Solvent traps are devices used to catch fluids from cleaning firearms. The device attaches to the barrel of a gun. These traps can be purchased from various retailers, notably Chinese websites like AliExpress and Wish. Many Americans purchase these items to legally convert solvent traps into suppressors, but the ATF claims the term does not exist in its regulations. Solvent traps are marketed, quote, solvent traps are marketed as devices that attach to firearm barrels to catch excess solvent used when cleaning firearms, the letter reads. ATF has not classified any device as a solvent trap because that term does not exist in the relevant federal statutes or implementing regulations, unquote. The ATF asserts that some devices marketed as solvent traps are suppressors because they have objective design features and characteristics that can be used to cut down on the decibels a firearm produces. The Bureau also looks at the individual parts to determine if a solvent trap crosses the line of being a silencer. One example the ATF gives is if there is an indentation that can be used as a drill guide. The agency states that those index markings have no purpose other than showing users where to drill to convert a solvent trap into a suppressor. This reasoning is similar to the ATF stating that an AR-15 with an index mark for the third hole is considered a machine gun. The ATF says that the solvent trap might still be a silencer even without indexing. Other features that the ATF says make a solvent trap a suppressor are baffles, spacers, ported inner sleeve or tube, expansion chamber, end caps, and dampening material. In the eyes of the ATF, any of these could turn a law-abiding citizen into a felon facing 10 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. This penalty is the same as being caught with an unregistered machine gun. Other such characteristics may include baffle, spacers, ported inner sleeve or tube, expansion chamber, end caps, and dampening material, depending on the particular design of the device, the ATF says. While increasing the effectiveness of a firearm silencer, these same objective design features offer no advantages in collecting or filtering cleaning solvent. The ATF says that end caps by themselves are suppressors, even if an end cap is the only part an end user has. Let me say that again. The ATF says that end caps by themselves are suppressors, even if an end cap is the only part an end user has. The ATF clearly believes that a silencer does not have to be complete or functional before the owner crosses the line. Just the mere possession of a single part can send a person to prison if the ATF decides to prosecute. The ATF also claims that users with solvent traps cannot legally convert them into suppressors, even if they complete the proper paperwork. Its reasoning is the originating company already created an unregistered suppressor and didn't go through the appropriate steps to transfer it. Once those steps are skipped, they can never be made legal in the eyes of the ATF. Another issue facing solvent trap owners is that most items are imported from China. According to the ATF, a suppressor cannot be imported, although a few exceptions exist. None of those exceptions apply to the civilian population. Now get this. The ATF asks anyone with a solvent trap to contact their local field office to divest themselves from the device. If a user is unsure if their solvent trap qualifies as a suppressor, the ATF also asks the owner to contact the field office. The ATF doesn't mention any immunity for the owner. I'm not a lawyer, I don't play one on TV. I did not spend the night at a Holiday Inn. That being said, if you have a solvent trap and you contact the ATF to ask to dispose of it, or if you ask them if it's a suppressor or not, you are a damn fool. You are giving up your Fifth Amendment right to not incriminate yourself. They can and will use anything you say against you in a court of law. If I were in such a position, which I am not, I wouldn't say squat. Nothing. Zip, zilch, zada. Zip, zilch, nada. Nadia. Nothing. Because, yeah, I don't want to see the inside of a federal prison. I do not want to be CRS firearms. So there you go, folks. Solvent traps are silencers. Solvent traps have always been silencers because, you know, ATF says so. Yeah, I'd rather spend the night at a Super 8. I would. I would rather spend the night at a Super 8 in St. Clair, Missouri than go to federal prison. At least at the Super 8, I only have to worry about roaches carrying switchblades and, you know, diseases, and not someone saying, "You're my little puppet now."
That big Bubba.
Yeah, I ain't got to worry about that.
Personally, I think suppressors on the NFA is stupid to even have on there.
It is. It should just be a common courtesy, you know, piece of safety equipment.
I mean,
so that you don't disturb your neighbors.
I mean, when's the last time you've seen a criminal use a suppressor? Like what, in a mafia film or something?
I say, you see that kind of stuff on TV all the time, and in the movies.
Yeah, it's Hollywood.
Yeah, the
crap.
one time I can think of where you saw someone using a weapon that had something that appeared to be a suppressor-esque was last year, I think it was. That's for a here in California up along the here in California up along the coast.
Huh.
It looked like it was attached to like a Mac 10 or something along those lines.
Yeah, it was the assault pistol that they were all calling.
Yes, that's for God. You know,
the shoulder
goodness
thing that goes up.
Yeah, goodness knows what the thing actually was, but that's for the shape of it made it appear to be a suppressor on the end of like a Mac 10. Which, like, okay, if you're really toting around a 2.5-inch diameter, 2-foot long suppressor on the end of a Mac 10, what the heck is your thought process? Besides the fact that you're a whack job and killing people. But yeah, you don't hear about this stuff. That's what the, you know, most murderers don't care about, you know, spending the money to get a hold of something like that. And talking about the parts with it doesn't have to be complete. So, I mean, this time around, they're saying the cap that can thread onto your barrel is already a suppressor.
Yeah.
What is it, next month? You know what? Or 6 months from now, they're going to declare, well, you have a pipe in your garage that's large enough diameter for the bullet to fit through. That's now a suppressor. I mean, where's it going to stop?
Anything that has a 1/2x28 MPT thread, because technically that could fit on the end of your barrel. You know,
or how about
that would be a suppressor?
Or how about going every hardware store and ban every utility you can think of? It gets destroyed.
Well, eventually they will. That's what the whole 80% receiver thing is.
No, but literally, hardware stores are everything. You know what I'm saying? It's impossible.
Oh, that won't stop them from trying. That's their whole thing. They are willing.
Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, Ace Hardware.
Yeah, they don't care. They're willing to do anything, and I mean anything, to further their gun control agenda. Don't believe me? You think I'm joking?
No, I'm just
Let's
saying.
look at this. This is from The Hill by Sarah Fortinsky from 11/22/23. Louisville bank shooter who killed 5 wanted to make impact to highlight gun laws. A man who killed 5 people at a bank in Louisville earlier this year wrote in his journal that he wanted to demonstrate the consequences of gun laws that he viewed as too lenient, according to police. The Louisville Police Department released a report Tuesday with quotes police said were taken from Assy McAssface's journal entries in the days leading up to the shooting on April 10th. I've decided to make an impact. These people did not deserve to die, but because I was depressed and able to buy guns, they are gone. Assface reportedly wrote on April 4th, the day he bought a rifle he'd use in the shooting 6 days later. The entry continued. Perhaps this is the impact for change. Upper-class white people dying. I certainly would not have been able to do this were it more difficult to get a gun. I know our politicians are solely focused on lining their own pockets, but maybe this will knock some sense into them. If not, good luck. Police said they also found a plan written in the gunman's notes app that allegedly stated in part, they won't listen to words or protests, so let's see if they hear this. The 25-year-old was an employee at Old National Bank. He killed 5 people at the bank. Joshua Barrick, 40, a senior vice president. Deanna Eckert, 57, an executive administrative officer. Tommy Elliott, 63, also a senior vice president. Juliana Farmer, 45, a loan analyst. And Jim Tutt Jr., 64, a commercial real estate market executive. Assface was shot and killed by
Budget?
police. Yes.
You know what? Check your mic real quick. We're having comments out there from John Z that your mic was a little low.
Really? Well, that's odd. It shouldn't be. I've got everything turned all the way up. I mean, yeah, this is the mic that's plugged in and whatnot. Damn it. No technical diddlies. We're not allowed to do this crap. Let's see. Mic is really low. What the fraggin'. Yeah. Can you guys hear this out there?
I can hear you.
Well, I know you guys on the in the whatchamacallit can hear me in the Scott says it's coming through pretty low. What the hell? I don't understand it. It shouldn't be. Because with all my settings, it's up all the stinking way. Let me look at my audio mixer. Yeah, that's up all the way. I go to the default device settings. Microphone. Should be this one right here. Pretty low to everyone. Could be better, but it's tolerable now. Pretty low compared to everyone else. My volume's pretty low. Gee, guys, 48 minutes ago would have been good to hear this. Can you guys hear me now? I changed my settings a little bit. Hopefully this will... John Z, New York outcast with disabilities. Oh, okay. Bit low compared to Pickle and Warsaw, but overall fine. Just do the show. Okay, well, we're going to press on. Anyhow, where was I? Maybe someday I'll not be an amateur hack, and I'll be able to... You know, I even bought a good pro microphone, but for some reason that wasn't working last time. That's why I'm using this thing. Anyhow, third asshole was shot and killed by police. The government's parents were aware of his distaste for current gun laws, according to the police report, but the parents could not provide any information as to why or how the incident at the bank occurred. The police report also included several pages in his journal from the day before Assface opened fire at the bank. In a section titled Other Thoughts, he stated, I am definitely very sick, and described struggles with mental health. He also wrote that those in power care only about money and more power. In the final section of this journal entry, Assface remarked on the ease with which he was able to purchase a firearm given his background of mental illness. Oh my God, this is so easy. Seriously, I knew it would be doable, but this is ridiculous, he wrote. Walked in and bought a gun, 4 mags and 120 rounds for $700. Got some glasses and earplugs, got my letters and social posts teed up, outfit ready, he wrote. It is legitimately unfathomable how easy this all was. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been 612 mass shootings so far in 2023, which is, of course, a lie. The Gun Violence Archive includes gang violence and gang-involved shootings as mass shootings, and thus skews the numbers for the, outcome they want. So, yes. There you have it, folks. The anti-gun, mentally ill pieces of filth who would take your rights are willing to stop at nothing to do it. Even committing atrocities to quote unquote what they think is prove their point. Really what they're doing is they're showing that the family needs to be involved in this, because this didn't just miraculously happen. This had been bubbling and fermenting for quite a bit. I cannot believe that mom and dad, his family, didn't know this guy had, he was a few cans short of a case, a few fries short of a Happy Meal. He was, fucked in the head. They had to have known it. They should have done something about it, particularly when he started buying friggin' guns. But,
Yep.
you know
what the real problem is right there, Mike?
What's that?
Every incident you see on the news, it starts by root cause. And you don't take care of that root cause, it falls down like a domino effect, and you get this situation here.
That is true.
And a lot of these killers...
Just 1 second, Warsaw.
Yeah, good.
Budget, please mind the blood pressure. And you're getting a little wound up at this point. And we don't need you winning wound up.
I am on my meds. I'm good. Thank you. I appreciate your concern.
Yep.
No,
like I was saying.
No incipient heart attacks or strokes or aneurysms or anything like that here.
Yep.
My head will not explode.
You good there, Mike?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, like I was saying, a lot of these killers are doing this shit. They're having sick intent. Well, you know what actually the cause of this is usually?
What's that?
No father figure for one. No father figure for one. 2, they've been bullied in schools up the ass where they have nobody, so they become suicidal. And 3, you got a whole bunch of other things like gang culture going around.
Yeah. Gang culture, I witnessed that in my 20 years as a correctional officer. Gang culture is a horrific part of why our culture as a whole is just shit. The glorification of thuggery, the plus you have the social policies pushed by the progressive left that have absolutely and utterly destroyed the nuclear family, killed it, so to where men aren't valued, men aren't necessary, men aren't there to provide a role model for their children, and women are having no incentive to even have a man around to be that role model. The proliferation of sex without consequence. Let me have multiple baby daddies. I don't care. I'm gonna get that check. All that crap combines to produce what we have today. And it's just garbage.
But yeah, like I said, it's all root cause. And like this guy, this was all political motivated, and also he was fucked up in the head.
Sorry, guys, I'm kind of setting up my poll for Moron of the Week right now.
I mean, we agree on this. Calaveras kind of agree with you on this. Calaveras?
You still there, Pickle?
Yeah.
Did Pickle drop out?
He's still there, just his mic's off.
Who knows? He could be going to take a poop. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Go right ahead. We all need to do that once in a while, I guess. Oh, yeah. How could I forget number 3?
No,
Well,
with this, yeah.
You know, the whole premise. Let's see. M. Gabriel says young people now feel entitled to a certain life, and if it doesn't go their expectation, they wind up taking out the unfulfilled need, frustrations on other innocent people. Yep. And yes, John Z, Pickle is indeed being fickle. Says,
Yep.
recently had my 3rd bypass. Trust me, it ain't no vacation. Yeah, I don't want that. I don't want that at all. So I'm taking my meds. Now I'm taking my meds again. I'm being a good little boy. I'm getting my blood sugar and my blood pressure under control. So I will still, for those who missed it, you know, I revealed that last week part of the reason I didn't have the show as well as, you know, on top of the camera there not acting right was that I wasn't feeling real good, and I ended up in the hospital on Monday evening because my blood sugar was at 396 and my blood pressure was at 220 over some ungodly number. You know, your blood sugar is supposed to be around 70, and blood pressure is supposed to be 120 over 80. So, yeah, I'm. The doctors yelled at me, and they wrote some prescriptions, and I got my meds, and I'm back on them like I should be, and not being a stubborn idiota. So yeah, being fickle on what? Had to step away. Well, that's it. You stepped away. That's your fickleness, Pickle. Don't be a sourpuss now. It's not a deal breaker.
Mike, you're a correctional officer, right?
I was, yes, for 20 years.
So would you agree on like 100% most of the stuff I just mentioned is factual?
Yeah, I thought I made that statement. Yes, I do agree with it. That's, you know, it's the destruction of the American family, the destruction of traditional American values. It's the social policies of the Democrats that have caused that stuff to happen, that have allowed it to happen, that have created the culture that we have now that glorifies. Pardon me, but it glorifies whorishness, and it glorifies thuggery, and it places no value on having men in the family unit and being there for their kids. You know, it almost disincentivizes it. That has led to a degradation of our society that gets us to where we are today. But, you know, we can't talk about that.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, that would be downright stupid. Speaking of downright stupid.
And now prepare yourself for another tale of stupidity in this episode of Moron of the Week.
First up in Moron of the Week, folks, is this piece from BearingArms.com by Cam Edwards. The ultimate proof that no place is truly a gun-free zone. According to anti-gunners, if you want to keep guns away from sensitive places, all you have to do is post a sign declaring that location is a gun-free zone. I don't know if they really believe that signage is imbued with mystical properties of protection that will ward off any unauthorized firearms from being brought inside, but they seem convinced it's the case. In reality, of course, a no guns allowed sign offers just as much protection as any other piece of paper or plastic, even when additional security measures are present, like magnetometers or even armed guards. Labeling a particular location as a gun-free doesn't mean it's actually going to be free of guns. Just ask the folks at Bibb County Jail in Georgia. The Bibb County Sheriff's Office is investigating after they found a loaded gun hidden inside the jail Wednesday afternoon. The Sheriff's Office says an anonymous tip around 2 p.m. led to a jail-wide search for the weapon. The find came just days after the conclusion of a month-long manhunt for 4 escapees that prompted questions about jail security. We did find a firearm, Sheriff David Davis confirmed Wednesday. It had 2 rounds in it. I'm betting it was one of those small Derringers. Tucked behind a wall-mounted phone in a day room in the C Wing, they found it. It's a day room area that's sort of adjacent. You have the cell block area, then you have a day room that's just off from that. That's sort of attached to that particular block of 20 cells, Davis explained. It's on the other side of the jail from where the October escape happened, Davis said. He says a search started immediately after the tip came in Wednesday. So, and contraband gets inside these secure facilities all the time. And there are signs up all over about not bringing this and not bringing that. And, any of the entry points where you have to go through, even staff have to go through metal detectors and magnetometers and, so get their packages and bags and boxes and lunch boxes and all that stuff searched. And it's very tightly controlled on what you can and can't bring in there. Yet somehow, stuff still gets by. So, you zero-brained, gun-free zone people, you're the first contestants on the Moron of the Week. But wait, oh yes, wait. There's more. There always is. This piece from quirkywonders.blogspot.com from October 13th. Unlocking Peace of Mind. Zor Smart Gun Lock, your guardian of gun safety. Hey there, wandering wits. Yeah, that's a good name for anyone who believes in this crap, because your wits have wandered. Are you ready to explore an ingenious addition to your firearm safety toolkit? And read as gun control garbage. Today, Quirky Wonders is thrilled to introduce you to the Zor Smart Gun Lock, a groundbreaking innovation that's set to revolutionize how you secure your personal firearm. It ain't set to revolutionize shit on me, Jack, because I ain't going to use it. Embrace enhanced firearm security. As responsible firearm owners, we know that keeping our weapons safe is of paramount importance. The Zor Smart Gun Lock is here to make your life easier, your family safer, and your firearm security next level. This caliber-specific lock offers an extra layer of protection that fits seamlessly with your semi-automatic piece. Imagine having the power to lock and unlock your firearm instantly. Or imagine someone else having the power to deny you from locking and unlocking your smart gun. Like they can shut you out of your car. The Zor Smart Gun Lock provides just that, a user-friendly high-tech solution to ensure you have control over access at all times. But it doesn't stop there. This innovative device will send instant notifications to your smartphone if anyone dares to tamper with your gun, turning you into your firearms guardian. Caliber-specific precision. It's designed to cater to various calibers, ensuring a perfect fit for your semi-auto. Instant locking and unlocking with a simple, effortless motion. You can gain immediate access to your weapon or secure it in a matter of seconds. Tamper alerts. So how does it work? You slide it over your firearm's barrel, twist the dial according to your chosen combination. Whenever you need to access your firearm, replicate the combination and you're ready to go. It's that simple, wandering wits. The Zor Smart Gun Lock's intuitive design makes it user-friendly for both novice and experienced gun owners. So yeah, instead of smart guns, it's a smart gun lock that, I'm sure there's no way someone can remotely disable it so that you can't get to your gun. Oh no, that could never happen, could it? So, Goofy Gun Lock, folks. Your contestants number 2 on Moron of the Week. But wait, folks, wait. There is another, as Yoda would say. This is from The Hill. Biden campaign warns second Trump presidency would mean gun violence gets worse. The Biden campaign Monday laid out the stakes of the 2024 election when it comes to gun violence, warning that a second term for former President Trump would cost more American lives. First off, folks, there's no such thing as gun violence. I say this every damn week. There is no such thing as gun violence. Gun violence is a lie. It is only violence. The tool involved is irrelevant. In a memo shared first with The Hill titled Trump's America in 2025, More Guns, More Shootings, More Deaths, the Biden campaign cited Trump's past comments to argue the Republican frontrunner would allow more firearms in schools and push for a national concealed carry law. Good. There have been many studies that show, folks, that more guns do equal less crime. Just go to the Crime Prevention Research Center and check out all the studies that they have accumulated there. And matter of fact, you might want to consider supporting the CPRC. They do a lot of good work to counter the lies of the left. A Donald Trump presidency will mean more guns in schools and more guns in the hands of criminals. No, But what they really mean is more guns in the hands of you, law-abiding folks, because criminals are going to get them regardless. All because he thinks being pro-gun makes him look tough. Biden campaign spokesperson Seth Schuster said in a statement that his refusal to stand up to the gun lobby to protect our kids makes him weak and a coward. So these fear-mongering fuckheads in the Biden campaign, you guys, El Snifador's henchmen, are the next and final contestants in Moron of the Week. So that's it, folks. Go ahead and get out the vote here. Vote early, vote often. Vote as many times as you can. We'll all be good Democrats. And the Moron of the Week. And tell us who you think deserves that title. The Zero Gun Zones, the Goofy Gun Lockers, or the El Snifador's Henchmen. Tell me what you think, folks. Warsaw says FJB. Brandon has to go. Mountain View says his vote is Biden. We have 5 votes right now. 67% says the Biden campaign. 57% says the Biden campaign is the moron. The Zero Zoners are 38% of the vote, and the Goofy Gun Lockers aren't getting any votes. Oh, they just got one with 9 votes. So we got 56, 33, and 11%. 10 votes in, 6 for the Sniffy, 1 for the Gun Lockers, 3 for the Zero Zoners. We got 15 people out there. We need 5 more votes, folks. Let's have 100% voter turnout on this. We can do better. And make sure that we all have some sort of input in how this goes, right?
I'm still debating if I want to do the stupid smart gun lock or El Snifador.
John Z says, I'd pick all if I could, but based on my work experience in corrections, I'll have to choose the corrections story. You guys would not believe the things people try to sneak into secured facilities. Oh, trust me, brother, I would. I've seen it. I've done it. I've intercepted it. I'm with you.
I bet it'd be easy just to get a smart gun lock. Just put a drill through it and you're done. It's that easy.
Giz says his daughter, which, by the way, welcome, Giz, says his daughter works in corrections, and he believes it. Yeah, anybody that knows anybody that works in corrections, I'm sure you've heard the stories, and there's tons of them. The wild and crazy crap you find and the ingenious ways that the ne'er-do-wells have of circumventing the security systems in place. And that's the thing, man. These people don't understand that even in what's allegedly the most secure weapon-free zones, there are weapons everywhere. You cannot stop it. Thinking you can stop it is delusional at best. Absolute delusion at best. 12 votes so far. 58% for the Biden campaign, 8% for the Goofy Gun Lock, and 33% for the gun-free zoners. Well, folks, I'm going to go ahead and call this one. El Snifador has legitimately, once again, or at least his campaign, has won the Moron of the Week.
And there we had another tale of stupidity in this week's episode of Moron of the Week.
All right, folks, those of you who've been here before, you know what's next. We've talked about our topics and we've chosen our moron. Next is the only thing we have left is Roll Call 219's favorite segment, Self-Defense Shoutouts. Self-defense shoutouts are not where I'm reveling in the proposition that the bad guy won the room temperature challenge by taking a dirt nap. No, it's instead where I'm reveling that the good guy had the means, methods, and opportunity to keep the bad guy from making him do that very thing. First up is this one from KPIC.com. Homeowner shoots, kills suspect during home invasion burglary in Southern Oregon from November 21st, 2023. Shady Cove, Oregon. Jackson County Sheriff's Office detectives are investigating a homicide that occurred Monday night in Shady Cove. around 2 a.m. Dispatch received a call that a homeowner had shot a suspect during a home invasion burglary in the area of Cleveland Street. Deputies responded, and Mercy Flight's medics attempted life-saving measures. The suspect was pronounced deceased at 2:34 a.m., the sheriff's office said. JCSO detectives are investigating claims of self-defense during the home invasion burglary. The sheriff's office stated, an occupant of the home held a valid protection order against the suspect. There have been no arrests, and all parties are cooperating with the investigation. So, sounds like someone defended themselves from someone who was intent on doing them harm. I don't know why they're calling it a burglary. It just sounds to me like they were coming in to go after somebody there who had a protection order. But they had that protection order. That should have stopped them, right? I mean, that should be at least as effective as a gun-free zone sign, shouldn't it? Oh, wait. It was. Next up is this piece from WTSP.com. Apartment intruder shot and killed by person in Pasco County, Sheriff's Office says. All parties have been accounted for, the Sheriff's Office said in a brief statement. This is from November 21st. Newport Richey, Florida. A person inside their apartment home shot and killed a man Tuesday morning, according to the Pasco County Sheriff's Office. The shooting happened around 10:15 a.m. at the Trinity Palms at Seven Springs Apartments, just off Seven Springs Boulevard, an agency spokesperson said. Deputies say a man who was carrying a weapon tried to break into the apartment before he was shot by someone inside. This is an ongoing investigation. There is no threat to the public. All parties are accounted for. Gee, it's almost like you shouldn't be carrying a weapon trying to break into someone's house, should it? I gotta tell you, I like it when I hear these stories and when I read these stories. Self-defense shoutouts are actually my favorite time of the evening, too. If they're your favorite time of the evening, go ahead and hit that like button. Help the YouTube algorithm know that these self-defense shoutouts are worth listening to. Do I have one more? Wait, yes I do. This is from WGNO.com. And you'll see how they're trying real hard to hide the actual story here and disguise it as something else. Yeah, come on. Let me get in here. Boy killed following shooting in Mediari. Mediari, Louisiana. The Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office is investigating a shooting that left a boy dead in Mediari on Tuesday, November 21st. Now this sounds like it's some crime, and this poor kid got hurt while he was just minding his own business. He's truly a victim here in the story. Jefferson Parish Sheriff Joseph Lopinto said deputies responded to a call of an unresponsive boy at an apartment complex in the 1200 block of Lake Avenue around 10:30 a.m. Upon arrival, Lopinto said deputies discovered he'd been shot. He was pronounced dead at the scene after receiving treatment. Oh, poor thing. Following an initial investigation and interviews at the scene, Lopinto said investigators believe the boy was shot during a fight over a gun with another juvenile. Well, what were they doing playing with a gun? According to JPSO, another juvenile that was in the room during the shooting alleges that the decedent brandished a firearm and attempted to rob him, which is what led to the struggle over the firearm. The investigation is ongoing. These folks don't even want to admit when someone defended themselves. So here you have a thug that went into someone's home and threatened them with a gun, got it, took him from him, and during the struggle suffered the natural consequences of his own goddamn stupidity. That's how it should work, folks. That's exactly how it should work. This self-defense shout-out goes to the young man who successfully defended himself against this poor altar boy frigging thug. So there you have it, folks. Despite what the lamestream media tries to make you think, the good guys stop the bad guys all the time. And that's it, folks. Budget, I can't believe anyone would do it for 20 years. Takes a special kind of person. My mom always said I was special. So did the driver of the short bus. And that was about it. It takes a very special kind of stupid, I think, to do it for 20 years. And I did. I'm cutting fiberglass hoods now, and I can't be happier. Truth be told. Anyhow, speaking of happy, I'm glad you guys were here. Hey, Alaska Ballistics, how you doing? Glad you guys were here and able to share this. I'm glad that Pickle and Warsaw stopped in to share the last show of the month. Last show of the month is going to be a roundtable show, a panel discussion like this. The other three are just you and me. But on the last one, I figured I'd do the traditional one. I don't know why YouTube would say this started 4 hours ago. It just started at 11. It's only been an hour and 15 minutes. Couldn't tell you. Yeah. But, hey, I'm glad you guys were here, and I'm glad that Pickle and Warsaw were here. Warsaw, you got anything you'd like to leave us with?
Let me think of another better quote, all right? Because we've been using that one all the time. History is made by only the victors.
Can't agree more. Pickle, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, and I appreciate you sending the invite and then having me in the show. That's for encourage everyone out there to help keep pushing gun laws forward. Or pro-gun laws forward 1 yard at a time. Using that method, we should be able to gain back everything we've lost and possibly then some. Hail Marys don't work, but if we can make this happen one piece at a time, I think we'll be in good shape.
That's it, folks, but we need your help to do it. We have to be constantly vigilant. We have to constantly be on guard, and we constantly have to contact our Congress critters and elected representatives and let them know what we think. Send them a snail mail, email, telephone, telegraph, carrier pigeon, bicycle, messenger, smoke signals, anything that you have to do to let them know what you think, and never, ever, ever give up the fight. I'll see you guys next week. As soon as I can find a right.